what's your name and tell us what you do?
Hello, my name is Tiaria Shante Reynolds, and I am an attorney at law.
So, we're doing this interview for Women's History Month, and I just wanted to ask you a few questions, okay? What inspired you to pursue your path, and how did you overcome challenges along the way?
I will say growing up, I originally thought I wanted to be a doctor. However, I quickly realized that I was squeamish and that would not work out. I then moved on to being interested in the field of law, but it wasn't until about 10th grade when I took a criminal justice class with Mr. Ben Barley that I actually realized that that's what I wanted to do. However, I did rule out I didn't want to be a police officer. I didn't want to do anything as far as CSI. So when I spoke with him about that, he had suggested that I try this mock trial class out. And it was being held at the Catholic University in Washington, D.C. So I paid the fee, went, and had an amazing time. And that definitely solidified that my path after college was going to be going to law school. Now, my path was not an easy one. I definitely, after undergrad, applied to various law schools. However, kept getting rejection letters. So it was about a year and a half, 2 years after I had graduated undergrad that I finally got into law school. And then also for those, it's an accomplishment for everyone to say I passed the bar exam the first time. I was not one of those. I definitely did not pass the first time. However, that challenge, I didn't allow it to set me back. I took the time to basically hone in on what I had messed up on. But I realized that the biggest thing was while I was taking the exam, because it is an exam where you're just under pressure, under time, and have to respond in so many amount of minutes, that I lacked the confidence the first time to just say, this is my answer, this is what I'm going to do, and just move on to the next question. So when studying for the second time around, I knew that when I went into that test, I was going to pass it, and I had that confidence level, and I ultimately passed.
Okay. What advice would you give to young women looking to break barriers in your industry?
I would say two things. Definitely get a mentor, someone that will encourage you not only just how to get into the field, but also challenge you to be better than they are. And then second, definitely be open-minded to the field of law that you want to practice. You may come out of law school saying, I want to do corporate law, I might want to do immigration, and find that that's actually not the ultimate path that you'll end up on, and that is just quite okay. You'll definitely be able to gain the litigation skills that you need that are transferable to any other area of law that you eventually get into.
Okay. Can you share a moment when your innovation made a real impact?
I would say within the last year, while I was still with the DSS unit, we represented vulnerable adults when they needed guardianship. So when the state has to actually take over guardianship of a vulnerable adult because a family member is not able to. I noticed that there was a gap in the system where, let's say, a vulnerable adult has dementia, and the gap between filing a petition and getting to court, because of their dementia, they fail to remember to pay their rent. So now they're facing eviction. So they're getting put out, and they have this illness and disease. So with that, I did take that proposed legislation to the Maryland General Assembly and said, hey, I think this is an opportunity for some legislation to be made and to be able to provide a temporary stay of at least 60 to 90 days so that a temporary guardian, so a court-appointed attorney, would be able to be appointed to manage that person's finances and be able to kind of, if they have the money, to be able to pay, or if they don't, be able to get them into different accommodations. So that is actually in committee in this current legislative session, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it passes and it will become law this year.
Say that. How do you stay motivated and continue to push barriers in your work?
I will say in the 2024 statistics, the 2024 statistics for the American Bar Association, it was 5% of lawyers are African American, and that was unchanged from 2023. In 2023, as far as how many women were in the profession, it was at 39%, and in 2024, it went up by 2% to 41%. So knowing that I am duly underrepresented in this field definitely pushes me each day to make sure that I strive to be better than I was, and I continue to strive to break barriers for those who will come after me.
Love that. What legacy do you hope to leave for the next generation of women innovators?
I hope to leave a legacy that no matter the odds you face, no matter your background, what challenges, no matter how long it takes you to break into the field, whether you're young or old, that you can do it. I hope that my determination, my success will be an example and will be an encouragement for other women and young women who want to break into this field.
What's a defining moment in your journey as a woman that shaped who you are today?
I will say it was about high school. When I was applying to colleges, I had a counselor tell me basically that my grades, or I basically wasn't smart enough to be able to get into certain schools and definitely would not be able to pursue a career in law. So you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to prove you wrong. So that definitely has been my guiding force. Whatever situation or obstacle I face, I just make sure that I strive to overcome it and keep pushing.
What would you say is the best lesson you've learned from another woman in your life?
I will say 2 lessons is, one, setbacks does not mean failure. So anytime you have a setback, it is just temporary. Just grieve the process, but pick it up, put on your bootstraps and keep it going. And then also, as I alluded to earlier, don't get stuck in what you envision and think. Be open-minded to what your plans are and to what God may be wanting to steer you in, but you're so tunnel vision because this is what your plan is and what you would like to do. Be open-minded to allow him to be able to show you that this may be an area that you need to go into.
How do you use your platform, skills, or influence to uplift other women?
I will say definitely inspiration to the young women that are at my church. We definitely have some young adults that are going off to school, off to college, some that are getting ready for college. And they come up to me asking me for advice. So I definitely try to steer them in the right direction, continue to push higher education. Even on my job, some of the young ladies, even in my former unit, still come to me for different advice as far as trial strategy and how to approach a hearing or approach co-counsel in a case.
Okay. This is not one of the questions, so I'm gonna catch you off guard a little bit. Can you tell us some of your most recent accomplishments?
Some of my most recent accomplishments, I guess, recently, like I said, I was in the DSS unit for about 4 years. So just December, I was promoted to our general litigation unit. So now I am handling all of the different lawsuits that come against our county and county employees. So that is a major accomplishment, to be able to take the next step in my career to have more jury trials and more litigation skills under my belt.
Okay. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you do in the community?
In the community, I would say my biggest thing is I'm definitely heavily involved in church. And with that, we definitely do different drives throughout the year. Our back to school drive, our Thanksgiving drive, and our Christmas drive. So I'm definitely heavily involved with that. And then also in my spare time, I'm also involved in politics. I am volunteering on previously have volunteered on a campaign as a campaign manager for the current clerk of the court for the Prince George's County, who's also my mentor. So wherever there is an opportunity to be able to help out a candidate, whether that's door knocking, phone banking, I definitely am involved with politics in the community.
Okay, last question. What are some of your future endeavors or things that you're working on now?
Some future endeavors that I am trying to strategize on, I definitely want to venture out and have multiple streams of income. So trying to strategize starting some businesses. Also trying to develop what my next goal is and career path is. While I'm in litigation right now, I know that I probably will be doing that for the next few years. And whether I want to get more involved in politics, maybe one day run, you never know. That is what I'm trying to figure out right now. But the world is my oyster, so wherever God leads me, and I will have the passion, that is what I'm looking forward to doing.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview for us, and happy Women's History Month to you.
Thank you. Happy Women's History Month to everyone.